Morning Dish.
He's the hardest working man in show business. His band's music takes you into the midnight hours. And when you wake up, his voice is back on your radio alarm clock. How on earth did this happen?
Well, Jeff saw me taking out the trash at the radio station.
And he won another award.
But this one is better.
I'm your boogeyman. That's what I am.
It's the Morning Dish with the 2019 Radio Personality of the Year winner, Stephen Phillips.
You paying attention to this, Packy?
And Murphy's own Sherry Raines.
Yeah, you must have given horseback passes to the right guy, Stephen.
Well, giddy up.
And Packy Smith's Shetland pony is right alongside.
You guys know these demo tapes don't just edit themselves together, right?
Well, all right.
3 cheers for Stephen Phillips.
Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
Well, I walk into the room. And producer Jeff Caperton with us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, everybody. I am having a great day.
Hey, that's always good, man. You've got a lot of stuff going on, and you've been in a lot of stuff. And so the folks that don't know who Jeff is, tell them. Who is Jeff?
Oh, gosh, I do have a lot going on, but that's a good thing, especially after COVID. It was,
Right.
I'd lined up a pretty full year in 2020, and then all of a sudden, like a lot of people, ended up with nothing to do. But I'm primarily a producer, but I have done some acting. I've tinkered around in a few Will Ferrell films and some Kevin Hart and a couple of Mark Wahlberg movies. I was fortunate to have a small part and do some stunts in Deepwater Horizon and Daddy's Home and Get Hard and a few things like that. Had a lot of fun making a movie called Pitch Perfect 2, which some of y'all might have heard of. That was a little bit of a departure for me, but it was a whole lot of fun.
Right.
And I produced a couple of things. If you're familiar with the Nicolas Cage, William Defoe movie Dog Eat Dog that came out at the end of 2016, I was executive producer on that.
Well, you had a lot to do with
got that movie made.
Yeah, you had a lot to do with that movie.
Yeah, we did. We bought the book and pushed that through, and it took us, that was about a 6-year love/hate fest getting that done.
Right.
But we finally did. Went to the Cannes Film Festival in France, won a bunch of awards, and came back here and had a whole lot of fun releasing that and going to all the premieres all over the place and gotten that one out. So that was a whole lot of fun, and it was a good movie. It's on, I believe, Hulu right now.
Right.
If anybody wants to catch Dog Eat Dog with Nicolas Cage, I could use the money. So y'all go ahead and
there you go.
that one in.
Well, that's the thing about it. You had a lot going on, and then COVID hit and kind of shut you down. I mean, like everybody else.
It really did. It actually scared me because, I've always, I started out in television really young, mostly doing news, and then had gotten completely out of it and got into business here at home in Houston, Texas, and doing other things. In 2007, started making movies again, just some small documentaries and some micro budget, small films. And just about 3 years ago, actor buddy of mine, a really good friend, an Austin-based actor who's very, very successful, named Mike Gassaway, we were doing some interviews at South by Southwest Film Festival in Austin, with the Music and Film Festival in Austin. But it's become one of the largest film festivals in the country, and we're sitting on a couple of directors' chairs right in the middle of 6th Street. I've got the whole street blocked off, and we're doing media interviews for this little series that we had just done together. And between when they were changing news crews out, he leaned over to me and just said, why are you still doing all this other stuff? When are you going to quit all that crap and come do this full time? It's what you want to do.
Right.
And you'll be more successful if you're doing what you want to do. And man, I sat up in my chair and I thought for a minute, and I said, right now, doggone it. And a year and a half later, things are starting to pick up. I'm getting some pretty consistent work. I've got myself all booked through all of 2020, and then COVID hit, and everything shut down.
Oh.
Everything shut down. And, I didn't quite have my sea legs yet, doing
Right.
this full time. So it was really terrifying. But you know what? Things started picking up the end of last year. I was hired as an actor for a movie called His Stretch of Texas Ground that was shooting up in Austin, Texas, and Dripping Springs in that area. And I went up there to do that. It was a really, really good part. I'm the third billing in the film, so
Right.
it's a good-sized little role for me. And they had some issues early on in the film, and the producer and the director ended up leaving the film, and I was asked by the executive producers to step in as a producer and get the film finished, as well as do my role, which was a significant role. I had about 28 or 29 pages of dialogue in the thing.
Wow.
And we were able to get it done. We released it at the end of March, and it's doing the festival circuit right now, and it's kicking some butt. And that led to another deal, and now my 2021 is looking pretty good. I'm about to sign for another film that'll take me through pretty much the rest of the year after I finish the one that I'm on right now, which should be sometime in mid-June.
Now, this one that you're on right now, that's the one that you actually be shooting. I guess you said you got to go out and Friday or whatever and do that. What is it?
Well, this movie we're doing right now, we've been shooting now since, I guess, the 28th of April. This is a big departure for me. I've never done, most of the things I do, both acting and producing, end up being like, crime dramas, urban crime dramas. Dog Eat Dog was a very dark crime drama.
Right.
And even the TV shows I've done, NCIS New Orleans and things like that, always kind of dark crime things. Excuse me. And this is a children's movie. This is our star is 9 years old. Her name is London Boyce, and she is amazing. She was in the movie Antebellum and some other things. And she's also an author. She's written a couple of books at 9 years old and got them published. And it's a kid's kind of a fantasy adventure movie. 90% of my cast is under the age of 14.
Oh, bless your heart.
Which has been a different thing. The other day we had a scene to shoot with an 8-year-old and a dog, and we were pretty much terrified of that day. They always say never work with kids or animals, and I had a whole day working with a kid and an animal, but we got through that one actually great. Mm-hmm. And this movie's come along great. It's a cute movie. The cast is amazing. These kids are more professional and more prepared when they show up to set than most of the adult actors I work with these days. So I've been so impressed. We had our first table read back in, late February. And everybody went around the table and introduced themselves. And then we started the table read. And as soon as they started reading their characters, man, those kids came alive. And these characters started coming out of their mouths. And I was so impressed with these guys, and we're going to be real proud of this movie. We wrap at the end of this month. We have to wrap the end of this month because a couple of our kids are going off to do another Disney movie.
Right.
So, but this should be out sometime in the fall, and it's really, really cute. It's called Wonder London, and it stars London Boyce,
right,
and Vivica A. Fox and a few other people. It's going to be a really neat movie, and I'm the producer on this one. I may end up with a small part because we haven't cast the coach yet.
Well, if you need a short, fat,
ball-headed
guy,
cast, I may end up playing a coach.
Yeah, if you need a little short, fat, ball-headed guy for a coach, I can do. As long as I ain't got no speaking part.
Hey, I might have you, brother.
I'll just grunt. So when will this movie? When do you think it'll be out?
The Wonder London right now should be out sometime in the fall. We don't have an exact date yet, but they're still, working that over. She comes from a very talented family. Her older brother is Thomas Boyce.
Right.
He's 15 years old. He's a Disney star, and he's also a stand-up comic. He actually travels the country and does comedy clubs and trade shows and corporate events, and he's hysterically funny. And just comes from a very, very talented family. All these kids do, and our other stars are great as well.
Well, you've been involved in some pretty serious stuff, you think? I mean, yourself, because, some of these movies that you've been involved in, and then even going back to when you was a reporter or you covered the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster and all that. That's a pretty big deal. Yeah, I sure did. My first job, I actually dropped out of high school after my dad died. I had to work. And through a friend, I ended up with a job in the newsroom at Channel 13 here in Houston, which is the ABC affiliate, right. And worked there for a couple of years, and somehow parlayed that into a network job. Went out to California, and because of my experience here with the Johnson Space Center, and even in California, I was put on the. This is back when the shuttle was launching pretty regularly. Right. I was put on the Challenger coverage team, and we were supposed to come to. Normally for a shuttle launch, I would have been in Houston for that. And at this particular time, the spaceship Voyager that was going out to Uranus had just reached Uranus, and it was starting to orbit, starting to send back pictures and stuff. So we were kind of the A team for the space stuff. So they pulled us off the Challenger, sent us to Pasadena, California, to Jet Propulsion Laboratory to cover that, and sent other people to cover the shuttle because it had become kind of a,
kind of a regular thing almost.
Right.
And, as soon as you take something for granted, that's when it goes bad. And sure enough, the Challenger deal happened. And within 30 minutes, we were on our way to the airport. And I was in Houston, by 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and then had about the worst week of my entire life covering that. But
that was a bad deal. That was really.
It really was,
Mm-hmm.
and just being there and being around everybody was just heartbreaking. And we were around a lot of people that we knew very well because we were down there a lot. We were real close with a lot of the NASA people down in Houston, and it was tough to cover. But I tell you, it was. The one thing I loved about news is I wasn't, watching the world happen on television.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever something happened, a lot of times I was there. I was right there
Wow.
where it was going on. And if I wasn't there when it was going on, I got there shortly after,
Right.
And I became a news junkie and just loved that. But then I got out of news and all that, and got into the bigger business world and started making some small little independent films again with some friends, had some stand-up comic buddies of mine that had done very well, and we started making some silly little movies back in about 2007 and 8. And that slowly evolved into doing some stuff, and then I got drug into acting in 2015 just through a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
Then started getting bigger opportunities with producing, and like I said, now I'm kind of acting and producing. At some point, I'm going to have to pick one, I guess. But I really like them both.
I mean, that's heck no. I just do them both. Now, when the COVID hit, you was actually filming. You had 4 episodes of Be Someone. I think it was already shot. Is that right?
Yeah, we did a pilot. We shot it at the very end of 2019. It's a 4-episode pilot. It's an urban crime drama called Be Someone. It stars Tisha Campbell, Martin, who you might know. She was Martin's girlfriend on the old TV show Martin. She was Gina.
Right.
And she's also currently she's on Last Man Standing, and she was Damon Wayans' wife on My Wife and Kids. And she's mostly known for her comedy. This is a dramatic role for her. It's actually a very, very intense, serious dramatic role. And she came in and just killed it. We've got the first 4 episodes of the series. It's also got Jamal Dennis, Khalil Kane, Krista Kalmus. I can't think of who else is in it. It's got a fantastic cast. It was shot actually right here in Houston.
Right.
It was funny when I was originally asked to produce it. They didn't even know I lived here, and they said, "Would it be a problem if we shot in Houston?" And I'm like, "Nope."
Yeah. Can y'all pay travel expense?
It's the first movie job I've ever had. It didn't involve an airplane to get to work, so
right.
That was great. And we shot it. It turned out great. Then, of course, COVID hit. We actually had 2 scenes left to shoot when COVID hit. We had 2 scenes that were pushed back a couple of months because the cast we needed was out of the country on a film. And then before they got back, COVID hit and screwed us all up. We literally just shot the last 2 scenes about a month and a half ago.
Right.
So that's finally in its final stages of post. We got everything else done. We just have to inject these 2 scenes, and hopefully we'll know very soon if that pilot's going to get picked up. And, if it does, that could mean some regular work for me and a whole lot of folks here in Houston, a whole lot of cast and local talent here in Texas. So we're really hoping it gets picked up. There's not a lot of SAG productions shot in the Houston area. This was one that could have the potential to, provide a little work for folks. So that's kind of my goal in this whole thing, is to bring some good-sized productions to Texas and more specifically Houston, and keep all these local actors and producers and gaffers and cameramen and electricians and directors and everybody working.
Well, I hope it gets picked up because I don't know anybody rich, and I'll actually know somebody that's rich.
If I get rich, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I don't. I just want a co-signer. That's all I'm after. I'll guarantee it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You trying to get that new Toyota, all right?
There you go. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna buy yet because nobody will sign for me. But anyway.
All right.
So now, if people want to follow you and kind of keep up with some of the stuff that you're doing, I mean, I love it. I mean, I love these movies that you've been involved in. I mean, everybody knows them. And this kids movie coming out, I think it's going to be great. I mean, I really enjoy stuff.
It is. I'm so excited about it. I absolutely. I mean, we're not even halfway through finishing it, and I'm already so excited to see this thing. If anybody wants to follow me, my Instagram is Jeff Caperton with no space. It's just JEFFCAPERTON with no space. My Facebook is the same. I have a Twitter. My publicist gets on me because I don't post very often, but I need to get out there and start tweeting more often.
Yeah. But
it's the same thing. It's just Jeff Caperton. And
And I have a website, www.jeffcaperton.com. Again, same way, JEFFCAPERTON. So I'd love to have folks follow me and send me messages and give me encouragement. There's days, that don't go well and I don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
It's always nice to pick up my phone and read an encouraging message. So I'll certainly take those when I can get them. So I would love to have anyone that's interested follow me.
Yeah, that's cool. Most of the text messages I get in the morning are from my bank, and they're saying, hey, you need to get up and go to work.
Yeah. I get those too, which is usually why I don't want to get out of bed.
There you go, Jeff. I sure appreciate you talking to me. We keep up with you, like I said, and see what's going on, and you've been great, and I sure do appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. Thanks so much for having me on, and thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you for listening. This is Stephen Phillips, host of The Morning Dish. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have a lot more interviews out there to listen to. Plus, you can listen online every morning at WJULradio.com or Lake 97.7 WJUL. And give us a like on our Facebook page, The Morning Dish.